AITA for cutting off my mom after she crashed my first date in 2 years. I had my first date since high school. I made a mistake when I told mom about it. She got way too involved. She showed up at the cafe where I dated, sat at our table, and started interrogating him. He got uncomfortable and left after 10 minutes. So I'm 19F, not the most social person. I've struggled with anxiety for years, and this was going to be my first date since high school. I met a guy through mutual friends. We'd been texting for a couple weeks, and I finally felt comfortable enough to meet up with him. My mom and I have always had a bit of a rocky relationship. She's super protective to the point where I sometimes feel like I can't breathe. Ever since I was a kid, she's always wanted to know where I am, who I'm with, what I'm doing, and I get it. She's a mom, but sometimes it's too much. Like, she'll text me 10 times in a row if I don't answer within 5 minutes. So I told her about the date, which I now realize was my first mistake. She seemed way too excited about it, kept asking me what I was going to wear, where we were going, etc. She even offered to drop me off, which I politely declined because I'm 19 and I think I can manage getting to a cafe on my own, thanks. The date was going well. He was really sweet and we were having a nice time. About 30 minutes in, I noticed someone familiar walking into the cafe. It was my mom. She spotted us, came over, and sat down at our table. I was mortified. She started making small talk with him, asking him where he was from, what his intentions were, basically giving him the third degree right in front of me. I couldn't even look at him. I just wanted to disappear. He was clearly uncomfortable, and after about 10 minutes, he made an excuse to leave. After he left, I freaked out on her, telling her she had no right to show up and ruin my date. Her response? I was just making sure he was good enough for you. You should be grateful I care so much. I haven't spoken to her since, and I feel like I'm suffocating in my own house. My dad says I'm overreacting and should apologize because she just loves me, but I'm so angry I don't know how to move past this. AITA for cutting her off? Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA. I understand just from this how you could feel like you are suffocating. Distance between you and your mother would be healthy for you. How can you grow to your potential in her shade? Commenter. Sorry, but your mom sounds creepy as hell. It was so inappropriate for her to show up at your date, let alone sit at the table and start questioning the guy. It's important to establish boundaries, especially when someone's protectiveness turns into suffocation. Taking some distance from your mom might really help you feel more independent and allow you to grow without feeling overshadowed. OP. Story 2. Girlfriend, 19F, has been hanging out with new friends and completely ignoring me. 19M. What should I do? I'm a 19M and have been dating my friend, 19F, for nearly a year now. We've known each other since 2021 and have met in person before, but it's been a half-long distance relationship since she moved away. We've always been close and have been trying to make it work, agreeing not to make anything official until we meet again. My dad didn't approve of our relationship for a long time because of how she dresses. She's alternative goth. And he said a lot of hurtful things about her. That caused a lot of stress, but it's mostly in the past now as we try to figure things out for winter. The real issue I'm dealing with is her recent behavior. Over the past few weeks, she's been hanging out with this new group of friends introduced to her by one of her guy friends, who I'm not a fan of. At first, I didn't mind. I'm glad she's spending time with other people. However, lately, it feels like she's been completely ignoring me. We barely talk anymore, and when we do hang out, she'll suddenly stop responding and say, I'm hanging out with my friends. Promised them I would earlier. I feel like part of this situation is my fault because for a few weeks, I was sleeping a lot and didn't hang out with her as often due to the guilt I felt about not being able to meet her in the summer like I promised. I then began to avoid her because I thought I had hurt her, which led to me not being present when she probably needed me. We came back to hanging out and spending time together, and I promised her I'd do better and stop sleeping so much. My hypersomnia was a big issue. Then it felt like she hit a 180 and became a different person. I asked her about it, and she said, I mean, you've kind of been busy anyway or sleeping the majority of the day, so of course I'm going to find something to do with my time. I can't just wait around for you. The issue is that this guy friend of hers confessed his feelings for her that he's had since last year. He seemed to feel some lingering discomfort about me and her closeness, but she's told him her focus isn't on relationships right now and that her friendship with me is just that. She isn't interested in a relationship with him due to their differences, and she still has feelings for me. I brought up my concerns, and she said that she knows him and doubts he'd continue to have feelings for her because she's known him for a while, which I doubt. Last week, they had an argument about something, him only being depressed because he doesn't have a girlfriend, and she ranted about it to me. The next day, she just kind of stopped talking to me as often. It started last week when she didn't bother texting me, and her excuse was, oh, because you usually sleep for a while. I'm starting to feel like I'm not important to her anymore, and I don't know how to handle it. TLDR, I'm a 19M, Been dating my 19F friend for nearly a year. It's a half-long distance relationship, and we've met before, but we agreed not to make it official until we meet again. My dad didn't approve of her for a while, but that's mostly in the past now. Lately, she's been hanging out with a new group of friends introduced by a guy friend, who I'm not a fan of, and who confessed his feelings for her. Since then, she's been ignoring me more, barely responding, and prioritizing her friends, often saying, "I can't wait around for you," because I was sleeping a lot due to my guilt. I made up for it and promised to do better, but it's like she hit a 180 and became a different person. Now, I'm feeling like I'm not important to her anymore, and I'm not sure how to handle it. Relevant comments. Commenter: you've never actually met her? What stopped you from seeing her this summer? Her friends aren't your problem. You both have felt neglected by the other's behavior. You need to have an honest conversation about that and discuss how you move forward, or if you do at all. OP: we have met. We've known each other before long distance. The reason I couldn't see her this summer is because of my dad. I kept our relationship a secret from him at first, but when I finally told him, he was okay until he saw how she dresses. He's very conservative and disapproves of her style, which led him to make hurtful comments and insist that I shouldn't take the relationship seriously. He had threatened to cut me out of his life and kick me out, and I don't really have a stable job right now and couldn't take the risk. So we made plans to meet in the winter by the time I'm done with medical school, but she has doubts and doesn't believe we'd even be able to meet. I'm not sure how to have an honest and open conversation with her because I'd feel it would probably turn into a confrontation. Commenter: if you don't feel like you can have an honest conversation with your partner, it's an indication that maybe now's not the right time to be in a relationship or with that person. If you need to take a couple of days before discussing it so you're not upset, that's one thing. But if you're not able to discuss it at all, that's not healthy. Honestly, the best thing is probably for you to focus on school, getting financially stable and independent, and working on your mental health. You need to be able to make your own decisions in order to be in a sustainable relationship. Story 3. Am I wrong for being upset? I hope your week is going better than mine at the moment. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years. I'm Asia 29F and Joe 35M. He is originally from Denver, and I recently met his family and friends for the first time. His mama and grandmother are awesome. I could already imagined creating holiday meals and memories. I truly have never loved anyone the way I love this man, and truly thought we were on the same page of building towards a future. While visiting Denver, we stopped in to see his friend Maya. While at her home, I couldn't help but noticing how fondly she gazed at my boyfriend as we all talked. I know it's been a while since he's visited home, so I just assumed she was happy to see him. It's important to know they've been friends since middle school, and up until recently she was in a relationship and married for 7 years. She is now divorced and dating a married man. Not my business. The week after we returned from Denver, my boyfriend let me know Maya was in the hospital due to her ovaries needing to be untwisted. I reached out to her via IG offering support and condolences, and she responded with a thank you. This past Sunday, 2 days ago, Joe let me know that Maya had asked him, hypothetically, if he'd be willing to donate his sperm so she might be able to have a child in the next 1 to 2 years, in case she has to have her reproductive system removed. And this man said, sure, no problem, without even pausing to ask my thoughts, the impact on an innocent life, and the long-term effects. He literally brought this conversation up to me for the first time while I was doing my evening skincare routine. What hurts the most is that he didn't even take a moment to think about how I'd feel about this decision. I know they have known each other since they were kids, but damn, I would never agree to carry a child for someone else without even talking to my partner about it first. Also, sperm banks exist for a reason. I asked more questions and wanted to understand his thought process of not including me in his decision-making. He mentioned wanting to be there for a friend and jokingly referred to himself as an uncle dad. He also said, at least I was honest with you. What even more bizarre about this situation is the fact that he himself doesn't have the best relationship with his father and has always talked about wanting to be an involved parent and teach skills he wished to have learned from a parent as a child. It's baffling to me that he'd be okay going half on a human being and then being an uncle dad that isn't involved. Words can't even describe how upset I am at this situation. At the end of the day, Maya doesn't owe me anything. Joe does. And the fact that this motherfucker couldn't even be bother-sled to think of someone besides himself is disappointing. I'm at a crossroads regarding staying in this relationship or moving on with my life. I'm not comfortable being a part of anything like this. I've made my feeling known immediately, and Joe has since contacted Maya and let her know he would no longer be able to be a potential donor. I truly don't give a fuck about this righting of a wrong. Can you please tell me if I'm being irrational in feeling the way I do? Should I just be done and move on, or take a deep breath to work it out? Any thoughts or laugh would be much appreciated. Relevant comments. Commenter: him not taking your feelings or opinion into account for something so huge as this says everything you need to know. Commenter: wouldn't it make more sense to get the sperm of the man she's dating instead? Sound like they were lovers before? Commenter: after talking to him, does he seem to fully understand your reaction? Some people don't think things through. Was he looking at this more as, I want to help my friend, instead of, I'd be creating a child with another person? If it's possible that was it, And once you talked to him, he realized what was being asked of him and had that "oh wait" moment. I think this is something you all can work through. But if he doesn't get it, if he only said no because you told him to, and he's acting all confused, that's another issue. Story 4. AITA for telling dad in front of everyone that I don't want to date a family friend's son because I think he's manipulating me with his anxiety. I am on the spectrum, so it's hard for me to tell. My older sister is diagnosed with anxiety. I know anxiety can come in different forms, but I believe, and my sister as well, that someone is using their anxiety to manipulate me. I am a girl. Guy named Trey is the son of dad's friend. Sometimes he'd come around and we became friends. Then he asked me out and we dated for a month. We go to the same school. This is the first year we had classes together. He makes it well known that he has anxiety to me and everyone around us. We have 4 classes together. In 2, we sit at the same table. Here's the issue. I suspect that Trey is faking his anxiety or using it as manipulation. In the 2 classes where we sit close, he always suddenly starts breathing really heavily and working up a worried expression, burying his face in his hands and shaky breath. It lasts for like 20 seconds, then repeats about 20 mins later. I know to be polite and ask if he's okay, but it just feels very off. From knowing my sister, she seems genuinely scared in panic attacks. Trey doesn't seem scared, he just seems calmer immediately after someone gives him empathy. Sometimes I even see a smirk, or he'll suddenly go into an anxiety attack, saying it feels like the world is caving in, over and over, and then run over to adjacent tables to put his head on their desks and get their sympathy. Kinda distracting emo, but he doesn't leave until someone asks him if he's alright. It just is kinda off, like usually in anxiety attacks you'd be just trying to get through it, so I'd find it hard to immediately think about running to adjacent tables and making it known. I thought most people don't want others to know when these panic attacks happen. He keeps doing it more and more. It's like a daily occurrence by now. He only started after we began dating. In the 2 classes we aren't sitting close, he will never have a single anxiety attack. He'll be loudly talking to friends. It just is kinda off because his behavior isn't ever consistent. Anyways, he doesn't do this anxiety stuff in front of dad or when we all are together. Guy seems charismatic elsewise, kind and polite. But yeah, after a month I felt like he was fishing for attention and sympathy from others, so I broke up with him, politely OFC. I just made some excuse that I wasn't ready. Needed time to phrase it correctly to dad, so I kept the news to myself. Well, our families had dinner together last weekend, and in front of everyone, Trey asked me why I broke up with him. Huge shock for everyone. He started accusing me of seeing someone else as the reason since I was giving him less attention at school. And I didn't handle this very well, but I was embarrassed and mad and impulsively said that it was because he was a dramatic person and manipulating others with his anxiety. Dead silence. Awkward drive home. Dad is mad at me. Other family is mad at me too. AITA for having this opinion and AITA for my actions. Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA. I would stop accusing him of faking and just play his game. I broke up with you because it's clear that I constantly trigger your anxiety. You are completely fine when I am not around, but whenever I am with you, you have an attack. This type of relationship was never going to work. Commenter. Congratulations on your instincts. Very impressive for someone so young. You'll do all right in life. People will always enable and rise to the defense of a victim playing drama queen and pile on anyone who sees through the drama queen and stands up to them. Be prepared for that. It's not you, it's them. Commenter. So let me get this straight. You were dating a charismatic guy. He was giving you some solid red flags, so you broke up with him. He called you out in the middle of a social dinner and accused you of cheating. You were caught off guard and were possibly a bit too honest, and you're the one they're mad at. Honestly, it doesn't matter if he does have anxiety. Accusing you of cheating in front of everyone is like a red tarp. It's such a huge warning sign. Sure, you could have been more tactful in the situation, but he backed you into a corner. If you have to endure some anger from both families, that's a small price to pay to avoid what was clearly the wrong relationship for you. Be proud of how you stood up for yourself and don't back down. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest ones. Have a great day.